evening. This is a Dawn of War 2 Retribution cast for the Elite mod that's out now. My name is Corporal Cretella. That's what I go by in the game. I know my YouTube is Radically Dreaming, but I go by Corporal Cretella in game. So here we have a 1 versus 1 game on Greentooth Gorge between Kaldoot as the Chaos Lord and the Orc player. This is the Orc Mekboy, and it's MyMe. I'm not going to waste too much time talking about myself because you guys just want to get to the action, so let's just get started here. So what we should notice here is, let's look at the opening cap order. Kaldoot worships his heretic so that he can get the Chaos Lord out a little faster. He's heading straight for this power over here, and he's got his heretics going to the requisition over here. So this is a conservative capping order. He wants to get his economy started, so he's capturing the power and the requisition, the nearest ones. Now if we look at the Orc player over here, he's also going for requisition and, of course, power. But he's got his Mekboy over here doing some aggressive early harassment. So while Kaldoot is trying to get his economy started, MyMe is trying to stall out Kaldoot's economy. Let's take a look. MyMe's already got a node up. Kaldoot doesn't, because he's probably saving up to get another CSM squad out. Now this is a choice that players can make, Chaos players can make. They can wait on their requisition so they can get another CSM out, or they can choose to get a heretic squad out. It depends what kind of build you want. Now, of course, because he didn't build a node, MyMe is decapping his Kaldoot's PowerPoint. So that's really going to stall out Kaldoot's economy, while, of course, MyMe's already got a node on his power. He's already building up. He's got 19 power income, while Kaldoot's only got 5, and now it's going to go down as it gets decapped. Take a look at some of the action here. Sluggers get forced off smartly, because he's got a heretic squad here and a CSM squad here. Definitely would have been a losing fight for the Sluggers. On the other hand, over here, we see the Chaos Lord. He's kind of chasing around these shooter boys. I don't know if there's a very good engagement for him since he's just getting kited. He's getting focused down, basically. Oh, but MyMe gets a little lazy on his micro. And the Chaos Lord gets to pull off Kill the Weak, which restores his health. Takes down 2 models in total between these 2 shooter squads, and the Chaos Lord retreats. Not that bad, actually. Only lost 2 models, so he didn't bleed that much. But whenever you're kiting a hero like the Chaos Lord or the Force Commander, if you lose models and you force off the hero without him actually dying, he's getting away without essentially losing anything, except for the map control of having that unit on the field. While these shooter boys had to replace 2 members. So it still cost him a little bit, not that much. Now as we can see, talking about that economy again, MyMe has a full gen farm over here, while Kaldoot just recaptured his power. So MyMe has been doing a lot better on power income. He's got 29. Kaldoot actually has 24, so maybe I lied. He's not doing that badly. He does have a node up over here, since he had his natural decaps. Looking at the VPs, we got 467 to 495. Heretics just idling right here. Not a very good thing to do. Chaos Space Marines in a fight that they are not going to win. They should retreat now, and they do, because they're at the point where they will lose a model if they stay in there much longer. And these Chaos Space Marines just walking away from the victory point. Not going to capture that. Probably wants to get them over to here to help with another fight. Heretics still idling, while MyMe gen dashes this node over here. But they're getting chased down by the Chaos Lord. And, oh, special attack. I think that was supposed to be a Kill the Weak. I'm not quite sure what that was. Meanwhile, Kaldoot over here still doesn't have any generators, just that node. Chaos Lord gets forced off. Slugger's losing models. Now we have a fight between 2 shooter boys and the Chaos Space Marine squad. Now the shooter boys do a lot more damage, or so they did in retail. Their damage has been lowered a little bit in the Elite mod, but they're still winning this fight, and the Chaos Space Marines get forced off. Now we have Chaos Raptors on the field. They suppress on landing. They're not really as good as ASM, to be honest. You know, ASM do knockback, and I personally think that's better, because you can retreat instantly through suppression. But knockback, you need to wait until they get back up, even if you retreat them instantly. Alright, Let's take a look back over here. It looks like Kaldoot's got a decent economy running. They actually have the same power income. But MyMe's winning on requisition, and that's because he's got all these requisition points over here, while Kaldoot's only got 2 up. Got this power node still uncaptured, or maybe decaps. Slugga's coming. They have the Burna upgrade, which is a little strange. I think you want it for the power melee upgrade that comes with the Burnas. Power melee does extra damage to the heavy infantry armor of Chaos Space Marines and Chaos Raptors, but not actually that much, since only 2 of the members get that upgrade. Mekboy over here shooting. He already has the battery pack upgrade, which allows him to basically pretend to be the apothecary. Oh, and look over here. We also have the Pain Boy, a new unit to the elite mod. He heals, but if you notice, he also has infantry armor here, so he's not quite that durable. He is a little bit squishy, considering that. No. Just got some walking around, no engagements yet, but probably going to happen soon. Chaos Space Marines engage with the Pain Boy, the Mech Boy, and the Sluggas. Dual shooters over here, meanwhile engaging with the rest of the Chaos Army, which is the Raptors, the Heretics, and the Chaos Lord. Now this is a bad matchup because it's all of the melee against all of the ranged. In general, whenever you have a ranged squad, they are going to be, whenever you have a melee squad that is, they're going to be any ranged squad in melee combat. So that would be a huge loss for the shooter boys, since these guys were just able to jump in, the Chaos Raptors, and the rest of them just got in close. Alright, now we see a few different things going on here. Slugger boys, generator bashing, but this is not a good engagement. Too many Chaos units, not enough Orc units. Sluggas losing a lot of health. Ooh, get Doom Blast on retreat, that is not good, and this squad might go down. Very, very close, and let's see. Almost. 1 hit point. Wow, and they go down, those Chaos Space Marines chasing. So, that was a bad engagement for MyMe. What happened was, he had his Slugger boys all the way up here, right at the generators, and pretty much the entire Chaos army was under him in the retreat path of the Sluggers. Now, when you're playing against just about any race, except for maybe Space Marines and Imperial Guard, you don't really want to let their army get behind you, especially not melee units, because then they can threaten to wipe entire squads. And that's kind of what happened. It was really the Heretics with the Doom Blast that made the difference there. Now, as we can see, Kaldoot is already going to Tier 2. So is MyMe, but he's a little slower. He's using his Mech Boy to tie up the Chaos Space Marine squads. Now, that's not a winning fight for the Mech Boy, but it allows his other units to get in because the Chaos Space Marines aren't shooting. Ooh, Mech Boy in trouble. He's got very little health. And the Pain Boy is not going to win this fight either. Not a winning fight for them. Shooter Boy is getting forced off. Shooter Boy is decapping Kaldoot's natural power and gen bashing. That's a good play. But the rest of his army is getting forced off. He's probably going to lose at least this generator, possibly a few more. Chaos Lord. Alright, Chaos Lord is heading off to intercept these Shooter Boys, while the rest of his army is getting a nice gen bash. But as we can see, MyMe, because he knows he's going to lose generators, he puts down a few new ones over here so that he can keep his power income going. He's got some boys over here coming back up. Ooh, get Slugger Boys back. Alright, that's an interesting choice. Sometimes you can get, if you lose Sluggers, sometimes it might be a good idea to replace them with a different squad. Sometimes people get kind of this tunnel vision when they lose a squad where they feel like they have to replace it. And sometimes that's a good idea, but not always. In this case, we'll see how it turns out, because Slugger Boys, they can repair. So if MyMe does want to get a vehicle, he will want the Slugger Boys around so he can repair. As we can also see, Kaldoot got Plague Marines. Now this is an interesting choice, potentially not so good, because MyMe doesn't have any vehicles, and Plague Marines are mainly anti-vehicle. He can bash generators with it, but it's still pretty expensive. That's about 450 requisition and about 40 power to get a unit that right now is not going to actually do that much. Slugger Boys, on the other hand, they're generator bashing, and they're fully upgraded right now. They've got both Burnas and the Slugger Knob. Now that's really important because they do a lot of damage when they have both of those. They do about 210 damage. It's huge. They also get a speed upgrade, which makes them really good at killing retreating units. Painboy in a little bit of trouble over here. He's getting hit by all that range fire, basically the entire army, but he's not getting hit by melee, so he'll get away just fine. See the Chaos Lord capturing over here. Kaldoot has a double cap, so right now he's winning on the VPs. We have the entire Orc army, actually not the entire army, only some of them. It does not look like a good engagement for the Orcs. But we see the Heretics a little overextended over here on Kaldoot's part. Now we need to see, will they get out alive? And they might go down. They do. Alright, that's what... So right now, rebuying the Slug is actually paying off, because when they're fully upgraded, they are absolutely devastating to retreating units. They're kind of like Banshees. People don't think they're as good as Banshees, but once they get the Slug upgrade, they kind of are. With that 200 melee damage and the 6 speed, basically you're pretty much screwed if you try to retreat through some... Basically, if you try to retreat through Sluggers, you are in a world of shit, because you're going to lose models, definitely. You might even lose your whole squad. This isn't a good position here either. Even though we think of Chaos Raptors as strong melee units, they're probably just... They're very durable, but Sluggers are going to win on the damage. Now, MyMe has decapped this power over here, and he's also gen bashed this power, so Kaldoot's economy not looking too strong. He's got 25 power income, while MyMe is practically ready to go to tier 3 on his power income. And we just heard Ready Flamers. Now what that means is the Chaos Lord is getting a combi flamer. And he should have gotten this a long time ago, to be honest. This doubles his range damage. It turns him, a melee hero, into the best ranged hero in the game. As stupid as that is. And that's part of the reason why people think this weapon is kind of imba. Because it turns him into the best ranged hero in the game. He'd be a lot better at bleeding these shooter boys. Makes him a lot harder to kite. Basically makes it not worth kiting. Because the shooter boys will just bleed while the Chaos Lord just laughs, basically. And it looks like Kaldoot is going to bash these generators. He's got double Chaos Space Marines. Now, if you notice, he upgraded his Chaos Space Marines, but I don't really agree with his upgrade choices. He got Eternal War, and he also got Aspiring Champions on both of his Chaos Space Marine squads. That makes him a little bit more powerful and a little bit tougher, but I really think that getting a Mark would be a better choice. It's just a much bigger performance upgrade than just getting Eternal War and the Aspiring Champion. People don't realize it. I don't think they really know, but both of the Marks are like really good. Mark of Khorne is OP, even though nobody knows about it. And the Mark of Tzeentch, basically the best range unit in the game. Now, while I'm talking about Chaos Space Marines, we have a Death Dread on the field already, and it's already upgraded to Burnas and Bits, giving this guy 1,000 health, making him a pretty good walker. And Kaldoot does have the Plague Marines to fight this, but if you notice, you see this guy running around really fast. He's got his charge ability. He can kind of pick his engagements and run away from... he can basically run away from Kaldoot's AV. So if he manages this right, I'd say he's got the advantage here, having this big walker out. He can just keep it near every Chaos unit except the Plague Marines. He's going to be winning those engagements. But over here, Chaos Raptors force off Shooter Boys. Both Shooter Boys retreating home, losing models. Death Dread over here coming to force off the Chaos Raptors. Chaos Lord over here finally choosing to recapture this power. And he also switched to the Blood Maul, which is kind of silly considering he just upgraded to the Combi Flamer, which was a great choice. Would have been a great choice even earlier in the game. He is double capping, or he's blob capping with both Chaos Space Marines. Still no Mark, as I was saying before. The Marks are awesome. You should generally upgrade to the Marks first because they're the biggest performance upgrade. Obviously, Mark of Tzeentch is going to cost a little bit more, but you get what you pay for. And even just those Marks alone, whether you get the Khorne or the Tzeentch, is going to be a bigger performance upgrade than getting Eternal War and an Aspiring Champion. Engagement over here. Now this Blood Maul is pretty powerful, does 100 damage, so he's really got to watch out. He can't take this stuff lightly. But Death Dread doesn't have to worry about it too much. Mass retreat from the Chaos Army over here. Just scared of those Slugger Boys. I guess he knows that he can lose models from them. Alright. Plague Marines are garrisoned, and he's switching his Death Red to range stance so that he can burn them. But now he's just running away. So that was... I guess he figured that based on how much damage those Plague Marines were taking, it was actually in his best interest to run away from that engagement to fight another day. Alright, more gen bashing. Kaldoot doesn't really have that much in terms of generators. It still says 40 power income. I guess just based on having these points. But, doesn't have much. Raptor's bleeding this squad, but that Knob is a tough guy, so he's not going to go down so easily. Chaos Force is converging on Orcs over here. Sluggers need to get out. Yeah, he just retreats them because he doesn't want them to take too many losses, and he definitely doesn't want to lose them entirely. They've been doing good. It's actually been a good choice to repurchase that. But he also needs to use them to repair this Death Dread right here, so we can keep that around. Plague Marines, probably going to Generator Bash a little bit right now. They miss. They were going for the Pain Boy. Bad choice. Pain Boy's going to engage them. Pain Boy does some nice damage, but again, he still has this infantry armor, which means he's going to be a little bit more vulnerable than commanders and sub-commanders. Still no mark on these Chaos Space Marines. I don't agree, I'm afraid. And still, the only upgrade he has on his Mekboy right here is the battery pack, which is good for healing. It will especially be dangerous if MyMe decides to get knobs later. That's a pretty dangerous combination. Probably worse than the Apothecary ever was with any unit. Alright, let's look over here. Pain Boy is recapturing the Orc's natural victory point. Double Chaos Space Marines bashing this generator. We have Orc Blob moving out over here. The Pain Boy is just recapturing, but now he's going to get attacked by the Chaos Lord. Chaos Lord is just standing. He's not going to attack. Never mind. I lied. Instead, the Pain Boy is going to attack the Chaos Lord, which is not a good idea at all. But he's going to do it, and he's going to walk away. Sluggas pretending they're going to cap. Really are going to cap. Shoot a blob over here, doing a lot of damage. Mekboy. Ooh, Mekboy has the Super Tough Beam, which makes an allied infantry unit resistant to damage. Alright. We got a Dreadnought over here. Good choice. I'm a big fan of Chaos Dreadnought. I play Chaos. Missile Dreadnought is pretty good, although usually... yeah, it's pretty good. It's a good choice. Khorne Dreadnought might be a slightly better choice in this matchup, just because if you have to face knobs, the Blood Rage will prevent your Chaos Dreadnought from basically just dying in one engagement because you ran into knobs. Chaos Lord is just kind of walking around. He's got his Blood Maul. It's very nice. Ooh, Shooter Boy's in a lot of danger. This guy... ooh, a little bit of a miscue by the Dreadnought not meleeing these Shooter Boys. That would have been a squad wipe. But as it is, MyMe's gonna keep these level 2 Shooter Boys because a little micro fail from Kaldoot. But right now, Chaos definitely has the map control, but he doesn't have the resources. He's not really reinvesting in his generators. He is staying in Tier 2, which is actually, I'd say, a good idea considering he has had some economic difficulties. One mistake that some players make sometimes, they try to desperately rush into Tier 3 when they're down. But if you rush into Tier 3 and you don't have any resources to actually buy Tier 3 units, you're kind of screwing yourself when you could be using all that resources to get like another squad, like a Chaos Space Marine squad, or a Chaos Heretic squad, or a Chaos Raptor squad. So I think that was a smart decision. Now, MyMe is in Tier 3 because he's handled his economy a bit better this game. Instead of generators, he's kept his power captured. He's kept his power, literally. Alright, now we have the Dreadnought over here, engaging this huge Orc Blob. Mekboy does have the Beamy Def Gun, which is huge AV damage. Slugger Boy's engaging, because they do a little bit of damage too. He's just attacking. Ooh, teleport, so that he can just stay in here, keep damaging. Kaldoot says, what the fuck? And then he loses Dreadnought. It's very sad. He says, LOL, he's laughing about something. His Mekboy's in trouble because he's getting hit by a 100 DPS power melee weapon. Orcs are kind of seeding the field right now. Chaos Space Marines they have map control, but this Shooter Blob is approaching. Sluggas kill Dread, Kaldoot says. That's not true. It was the Mekboy that killed the Dread. He had the Beamy Def Gun, which does massive damage. Does huge damage in single shot. So that's what really killed the Death Dread. I mean the Dreadnought. A single shot of Let the Galaxy Burn goes off. I guess he saw that maybe he was going to miss. Again, no mark on these Chaos Space Marines. Now, if he gets the Zinch mark, it is a huge loss for these Slugger Boys. As it is, the Slugger Boys are losing anyway, but it would be a huge loss for the Slugger Boys if they had the mark of Zinch, because it's just, they're doing a whole lot more damage than it. I mean, people have always thought of Slugger Boys as doing way too much damage, but Mark of Zinch Chaos Space Marines do even more. Even back in retail, and probably still in here too, they just did way more damage to everything. It's not just an anti-heavy infantry buff, which I think what some people think. They really just do a ton of damage versus everything that's not a vehicle. Death Dread right here, getting in melee with the Plague Marines. That's a good idea because right now these Plague Marines are the only anti-vehicle that kaldoot has, and if they're getting in melee, they can't fire the rocket launcher. Alright, Sluggers over here, doing what they do best, killing models. He uses the suppression on the Chaos Raptors to just kind of stop the Sluggers in their tracks. I think he knew that it was not a winning battle to jump Raptors into Sluggers. So, good for kaldoot, making that smart choice. Kaldoot has 500 red, so he's kind of floating a lot of red, but he's still in tier 2, so he can't really use it for anything too good. Dreadnought is chasing down the Death Dread. I thought he used the charge to get out there. It looks like it didn't activate for very long though. Death Dread in a little bit of trouble. He's got half health. Chaos Dread has full health. And obviously this is a replacement Dread. It's got the autocannon, which is the default. Ooh, and we see a big smash, sweeping doom. That's what it's called, from the Chaos Lord. Alright, what else we got going over here? This is basically the... Alright, this Death Dread will probably die, but MyMe's got a battle wagon out over here, so not too worried. And while I'm not looking, the Chaos Lord does go down. I think, yeah, I guess from these Sluggers they do a lot of damage. Again, 200 DPS. They're getting healed too. Now these Raptors are in a lot of trouble. They do jump out, which is good, but then they're just running right back into combat. Yeah, they're gonna get wipes. I'm not even gonna say probably, they are. There it is. Dreadnought fighting the battle wagon. And it dies. It's been getting a lot of good use out of this Emi Def Gun. Alright, so I think MyMe's kind of been playing this pretty well. He's only lost that starting Slugger Squad. Oh, we lost the starting Slugger Squad and the Death Dread. Meanwhile, kaldoot has lost Heretics, Raptors, and 2 Death Dreads. Wow, I like that. Alright, he uses aiming, what's that, to pin the Plague Marines in place so that the Orc Battle Wagon can shoot its big shot. And of course, kaldoot says, Troll Orcs. And that's GG. Wow, I wasn't expecting that. Alright. Alright, so that's pretty much it. Hope you enjoyed my casts. I'll probably be trying this again.